go ahead. So I mean, what's the vibe right now in Colombia? I know like certain people, depending on what country they're in. I mean, people in the UK are still locked down. Here in the States, we're seeing kind of light at the end of the tunnel. People are getting back to normal. I even went out and ate in a restaurant the other night with my kids, which in California was remarkable. What's the state going on in Colombia? I mean, I know you've been traveling around between Bambusa and Bogota and Barichara. So what's the vibe on the street?
Well, we are lucky enough that the situation is quite controlled right now in Colombia. Last year has been really rough for Colombia because they did a very, very strong lockdown for several months, like almost 7 months of lockdown, very strict one of the strictest in the world. But it looks like it's paying actually finally now because the numbers are really low and situation is getting back to normal. One of the things, Colombia are really applying a lot of restrictions for the day-to-day life, so you can still live, but taking care. Social distancing is compulsory in all the supermarkets, in all the malls and everything. You need to wear your mask all over the city, only now because we just had a coffee and we are sitting on the table so we could take it off. But otherwise, if you walk in the village, you need to have it. You will have gel, alcoholic to clean your hands everywhere. So they really take care of everybody so they can live. And actually, I want to show you, well, right now it's nap time in Barichara, you know, like it's 1 p.m. in Barichara, so it's hot, so everybody is having a nap. But as you can see, like we have people on the streets and we have cars and we have coffees open. So you can be outside and you can enjoy it, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Taking care, we can make it happen. And,
yeah. And what about like restaurants?
Sorry.
What about like restaurants and stuff? Are restaurants there in Barichara open? I mean, I know there's a lot of Colombians that have second homes in Barichara. So are those people coming back to get away from the city for the weekend? And are restaurants open and stuff like that at the moment? Or,
yeah, right now we see much more domestic travel because, of course, we don't have a lot of foreigners coming yet. So a lot of domestic travels, Colombians, people from Bogota, they will escape on all weekends. So the weeks are more empty everywhere. But on weekends, like you do have a lot of people. And actually, for example, in Hacienda Bambusa, which is more focused in Colombia, we have 50% occupancy with Colombians this month. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We are happy about that. One small detail, you know that to get into Colombia, you need to do a PCR test 96 hours before arriving into Colombia. But it's 96 hours. So you do have 4 days to make it happen before landing into Colombia. That's the only restriction.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, at the moment, I'm planning with my family to come down there to Barichara and to Casa Yahri, and I was just looking at flights, and there's great flights, really cheap right now. It's like $500 round trip from San Francisco to Bogota or Cartagena or Medellin, so totally doable. So taking advantage of it. We'll be down there soon. So yeah, why don't you go a little walk around the plaza a little bit, and then hop in the tuk-tuk, and then I'll do the little presentation about how to get to Barichara.
Yeah, definitely. Let me show you why I fall in love with that village. First time I spoke to Clark about Barichara, he was like, why, you're crazy. That's far from everywhere. What do you see in that village? And once Clark came, he said, no, I understand what you meant. It's really an amazing town. So let me give the camera to Camila, who will be helping me. And let's go to the tuk-tuk, which is just a block away. We will mute because the noise will be annoying, but you can see a bit what the village looks like. Also, you have to put that back. Let's go. So the village is like 9,000 inhabitants. So it's small enough that it really feels that it is a village, but big enough. So you have restaurants, a couple of good hotels, good enough hotels, and you have many things to do outside. Why did we start this presentation in the village? Because staying at Yahri is not staying in a hotel. It's being part of the village of Barichara. That's why we insist so much on that. Just being in Yahri is just an excuse to enjoy the village. Let's go. We have the tuk-tuk waiting over there. Actually, you don't have a lot of cars inside the village, like a couple of people will have them, but you don't have taxi and you don't have public transportation. The normal way to move around is using the tuk-tuk or the chivas. Really traditional, really local spirit. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Todo bien? Permiso. Vamos, Camila. Up. Dummy. Okay, so I will mute and I will see you in a couple of minutes when I get to the house.
Okay, sounds good. Enjoy the ride. So yeah, I mean, as Olivier is saying, this town is just magical. We're going here for the feeling. I mean, you have lots of cute little Andean villages throughout the Andes, but when you get to Barichara, the thing is it's very remote. To get there is quite difficult. So this place has almost been cut off from time. So in terms of the architecture and the pace of life, I describe it as like if you read a Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel and him describing the kind of the magic realism of Colombia, this is very much the vibe in Barichara. You're kind of stepping back in time, you know, where life is just at a slower pace. So what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and share my screen. And I am going to give you guys a little bit of a presentation in terms of, let me just make sure that you're able to see this. While I lose my thing. So in terms of getting here, hopefully you can see my screen. I can't, let me see here with the chat. Can someone just say if they can see my screen? Yeah, okay, thanks, Kirsten. So looking at the map of Colombia here, you can see where Barichara is with that little red dot. So it's actually the third largest town in Colombia, actually fourth largest behind Bogota, Medellin, and Cali, and then you have Barichara. So it's quite a large city. So it's nice that you have, so there's Barichara, but to get here, you have to get to this town called Bucaramanga. That's what I'm talking about, the next largest town. Bucaramanga is the access point to get to Barichara. What's nice about that is you have flights from everywhere in Colombia. So if you're coming from Bogota, you're coming from Medellin, coming from Cali, coming from Cartagena, coming from Santa Marta, there's direct flights into the town of Bucaramanga. And there's maybe 10 flights a day from each of those cities. So it's really easy to connect. It's also such a large town that they actually have direct flights with Copa from Panama City. So that's another option. You can fly to Panama City and then Panama City direct into the town of Bucaramanga. Once you get to Bucaramanga, though, as far as the way the crow flies to get to Barichara, it is 3.5 to 4 hour drive. It's a very long drive because you're crossing over one of the largest river canyons called the Chicamocha Gorge. However, it's quite an adventure. Just the drive itself is a great option, but you have flights and helicopters. So most direct way you come into Bucaramanga, you drive 3.5 to 4 hours, but that's also why this village is so special. Like if it was easily accessible, it wouldn't have the same laid back vibe. When you're in Barichara, you find a lot of really creative artists from around Colombia that have a second home there or a weekend home. So it's full of arts and music and good food. And it's just a place to like kind of get away from the rat race of the modern world. Some people too, if they want to do a highland itinerary, you can do a road trip across Colombia. So you can come into Bogota, drive 3 hours up to the village of Villa de Leyva, visit the Salt Cathedral en route, and then spend a couple nights exploring Villa de Leyva, drive further on 4.5 hours to get to Barichara, and then get out via Bucaramanga. So that's one way. But this is the gorge I'm talking about. So when you leave Bucaramanga, it's not far as a crow flies to get to Barichara. It's just that the topography here is so intense that it takes a very long time. So this is actually the road you can see behind on the other side of this gorge coming down out of Bucaramanga, down to the bottom of this canyon and then going up the other side. And I mean, this gorge is probably like 9,000 feet deep. But one of the cool things about this drive is that you actually can leave Bucaramanga, you drive to one edge of the canyon, and then they have this teleférico, like a cable car gondola system that crosses the entire canyon. So if it makes it that you're not in the vehicle all the time, you can actually get dropped off by the driver on one side of the canyon, board this gondola, and basically ride this all the way down to the bottom and all the way back up to the other side, and then your driver is waiting for you. So it's just a different way to kind of avoid the curves and do this really spectacular. It's one of the longest gondolas in the world. And then when you get to the other side, it's actually the best paragliding spot in Colombia. So when you pop out there on the gondola, or if you've driven, you get out here and there's all these paragliders soaring the thermals there. And we do have some clients that want to do double flights. So you imagine you've done an hour in the car, you do a little bit under an hour in this cable car, get to the other side, and then to be rigged up into a harness and fly above this gorge in a paraglider. It really makes a 4-hour drive quite an adventure to do that. So here's a couple shots of the paragliders from the viewpoint there on the other side of the canyon, and one from the air as well. But the other thing is people want to get to Barichara and are, renting out Yahri or staying somewhere else. They have fantastic light aircraft and also helicopter services that transfer people between the Bucaramanga airport and Barichara. And I did this last time I was there. I drove in one way and then I helicoptered out, and the helicopter takes like 15 minutes. I mean, I remember I woke up, I took a tuk-tuk actually to where the helicopter was, get in the helicopter, and by the time we landed in Bucaramanga, my hair was still wet from the shower I had taken. So it was that quick, and I just came in and I walked straight onto my domestic flight into Bogota. And I think that per person, it was around $350 for that helicopter transfer. And that was like the best $350 I think I'd ever spent in my life. It was also because it was a long night the night before of partying at the end of a trade show. Yeah, like here you just land a little bit outside of town, and either a car or a tuk-tuk pick you up, but the helicopter ride is fantastic. And just a little bit more, I want to show some satellite pictures of the village of Barichara itself, so you can see it. So you said it's about 9,000 residents. He was just there talking to us from the main plaza, and up here is where Yahri is located, where his villa is. But you can see this little village is on the edge. This is the village here, and this is the Chicamocha Canyon. So this is a massive canyon. So all from here, there's these incredible mountain biking routes and treks down to little villages that are in the canyon. So I'll talk about this more, but it's like a real adventure paradise where Barichara is. So you have the laid back kind of a beautiful architecture in Barichara itself, really slow pace of life. I mean, this is a typical scene of, local elders walking by. You have all the school kids in their dress going to and from school. And a lot of artisans. So like this is a couple options. This is actually a paper factory in Barichara where they still hand press paper. You can see where they have these kind of sieves for taking out the fibers and washing them. And this is stuff you can go and participate in as a visitor in the town of Barichara. Let's go to the paper making factory this afternoon and do a little class on paper making. There's lots of ceramic studios as well. So surrounding Barichara, there's also these coffee farms. So you have all these kind of cultural interactive activities to do in the village and around the village itself. But as I talked about, it's really a center for outdoor adventure. So this is one of the cafes on the edge of the town, looking down over the canyon, and you have all these fantastic hikes where you actually hike down to these smaller little colonial towns in the canyon, and then you can take a tuk-tuk back up to Barichara. So fantastic biking. You've also got in the area a lot of like waterfall rappelling, canyoneering to do. There's fantastic whitewater rafting. The little town right next to Barichara called San Hill is called the Extreme Sports Center of Colombia. So rock climbing, mountain biking, whitewater kayaking, whitewater rafting. I mean, there's whitewater here from, an hour on class 2 water up to multi-day class 5 river descent. So there's all of that to do. Great rafting. And then, of course, backed by Olivier service there with his staff from Yahri. When you go out, you have these fantastic picnics set up and catered for groups or couples that are traveling there. So it's just an awesome, awesome place. And like I said, we are, that's the next Catula family trip is going to Barichara. So Olivier, where are you at? Did you make it there?
Hello.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah, we just arrived right on time. Perfect.
Perfect.
So before we go to the house, I wanted to show you, well, you show a map apparently already, but that's the main cathedral of Barichara. That's where we were a couple of minutes ago. And actually the house is in a neighborhood called La Loma, which is slightly separated from the main village. So you are a little bit more quiet, but you are like just 5 blocks away walking from the main plaza. I took a tuk-tuk today because we have no time, but usually we go walking. And it's really great to be that close. And let's go to the house, which is just here, halfway, a block away.
Okay. So here you can just see the architecture of this. It's like all these beautiful old colonial buildings with the terracotta tiled roofs, and you have bougainvillea spilling out from everywhere. And I mean, it's a little bit cloudy today, but just a gorgeous place. Hey, here we are getting to the door.
Hola, Blanquita. All right. Something also worth mentioning, since we are in the neighborhood, in case you need more villas, because we only have 4 rooms here. Actually, the one from the neighbors, they have 3 bedrooms and they also rent it. And the one in front also, like we are friends with all the neighbors. So in case you have a bigger group or you need like a couple of villas for an extended family or something like this, we can arrange that with our neighbors. And we use our villa as like headquarters to do breakfast for everybody or dinner for everybody. And everybody go back to their house at the end of the day. That works very well. That's actually what we did for remote 2 years ago. So let's go. You will notice right away that we have many stairs in the house. That's something that you need to take into consideration. Actually, the entire village is up and down everywhere. So most of the houses, they have stairs. So that's something to take into consideration. Right after the main entrance, you get into the social areas where you have the swimming pool that you enjoy quite a lot after a nice hike on the hot weather. We always recommend to leave some free time in the afternoon because it can be hot in the afternoon here. Between 2 or 4, it's pretty hot. So clients just enjoy to be in the swimming pool, or they can use the jacuzzi that we have over there. Again, after the hike, it's fantastic. Actually, a couple of days ago, we went scouting a new route to Cabrera, and we were exhausted. We finished in the jacuzzi. That was perfect. And so, as I was saying, it's really a house. Like, you don't feel in a hotel, and we don't want our clients to feel in a hotel. So it's an open house where you have the open kitchen, the open living room. We do rent it. Oh, by the way, for whoever we don't know Diego yet, my partner, we work together. He's the one making the magic happen in our hotels, and I'm the one selling them. So this is the living room. As I was mentioning, so it is really a house. We do sell Yahri as a boutique hotel room by room. So if you just have a couple, we can book it just for a couple, and then we can mix, and you will see the rooms are really spread in the property, so no problem. But it makes more sense to rent it as a private villa for a big family. That's where really the concept shines. Let's go to the main room.
Hey, Olivier.
Yep.
Olivier, what's the elevation in Barichara?
Sorry, couldn't hear.
What's the elevation in Barichara?
Someone was asking. It's not high. It's like 1,000 something meter. So that would be 3,000 feet, a bit more. 3,000
feet. Yeah. So this isn't an area you're talking about, like, altitude sickness or anything. It's quite a benign altitude.
No, that's not an issue.
And someone else was asking about. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing you can see. I mean, Olivier keeps talking about it being hot, and you can see the house layout of this living room. It's completely open air. This is a beautiful, beautiful climate, very different from, say, Bambusa in the coffee region, which is warm and humid and subtropical. This is in the Santander province, and it's a drier. You're kind of in a rain shadow of the Andes, so you have like abundant sunshine. It's very warm and dry, not like dry like a desert, but it's just a much drier climate. So it maintains being quite warm and quite sunny throughout the year with sporadic rain shadow. So that was the other question from Troy, was about seasonality. I mean, this isn't really a place that you have like one specific dry season, one rainy season, or a tourist season and a non-tourist season. This is pretty much a year-round destination.
Yeah, definitely. It's a year-round destination. Easter week, Semana Santa, is really busy in Barichara with Colombians because the church is very famous here, and there was a lot of celebrations for Holy Week. And then Christmas and New Year are pretty busy also with Colombians. But then all year round, no problem at all. And the weather, well, the rainy season is like 20 minutes at night, and that's what they call a lot of rain here in the region. Honestly, you don't feel it. You don't feel it. Unlike the coffee region, as Clark was saying, definitely where it is much more rainy, that's where it's much more green, and here it's much more dry. So yeah, the temperature is the same all year round.
Yeah, and I mean, these rain, the nice thing about the rain when it comes there, like when we had that over remote, we had a couple times, but the pace of life in this village is super slow, and like the rain comes, it's usually pretty dramatic with thunder and lightning, and it can just dump. And, everyone just sits and goes indoors and looks outside, watches it rain, and the rain passes, and then you have beautiful blue skies and rainbows, so it's like not really something that's going to get in the way of your activity for the day. It might rain for 20 minutes and then it goes back to clear skies because the weather patterns move through here pretty quick. So where are we going to go up and see one of the suites?
Yeah, let's start with the main one, the master suite. Again, we have a couple of stairs. So this one actually was the original house. That was the house of a local farmers, and the entire property was only land. And this house has like 120 years old approximately. And the entire house is now the master suite. It has its own private terrace and with really nice view of the mountain in the back. You will see we are very speaking about traditional housing with huge wooden doors, traditional construction from Barichara, Tapia Pizarra. And the inside, well, for whoever knows Hacienda Bambusa already, our style, we love to do authenticity blend with comfort. So you have all the decoration is done by Diego, my partner, who is doing, who works with the local handicrafts from the village. As Clark was mentioning, there is a huge handicraft community in Barichara. So we work with them, for example, that the head of the bed has been handmade by a group of old ladies on fique, and it's really nice. but we balance with comfort. We have air conditioning, one of the few houses in Barichara with air conditioning. But we know that some people do enjoy to have air conditioning at night. Huge hotel beds that can be split into twin beds to make it much easier in the selling process and for the comfort in case we have family or kids. So this is the master room, as I was mentioning, with its private terrace. And what we love about this one, sorry, there are a couple of personal things in the rooms, because actually we have a client, we have a friend with / a client right now staying with us, and we're staying over. So there are a couple, not totally all prepared for showing. And that will be the bathroom of the master bedroom, traditional from Barichara, open air, because it barely rains, so you don't really need a roof. And it's so nice in the morning to have your shower outside. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so that would be the first one, and let's go downstairs to the next one.
Yeah. And so just to remind people, so this has 4 bedrooms, the villa. You can book it out, exclusive use for all 4 rooms. So great for a family or, 2 families traveling together, 2 couples or something. But Olivier does also rent this out just room by room, because there's fewer people that come to Barichara, so we want to kind of make it accessible. We do just have a couple coming that doesn't have the budget to book out a full villa. They can do individual rooms. And as you see, as we walk around, there's plenty of open space that's very much separated. So even if you're there and there's 2 couples that were, strangers before they arrived, there's plenty of space. You're not on top of each other in it. So I love this dining room. And as he was saying, fique is like it's a natural plant fiber that they do all these weaving. So you can see the beautiful chandelier that's above the dining table there. Hold on, let's go, Camila.
I'll go back to
Can
the
you
room.
see that? This one. So you've got the dining
room.
area and the kitchen, and then this is like kind of the main outdoor dining area.
Actually, speaking about dining, that could be I forgot to mention. So we sell the property only with a full experience package, which means that we sell it with the lodging, the full board, and a guided disposal to explore the region with the clients. Why do we do that? As you know, and as you guess, it's a logistically challenging place. We know how to make it happen, and we know how to ensure the experiences will be well, but we need to have it prepared in advance if we want that. For example, some restaurants are not open all the week. So we prefer to pre-include all the meals and all the experiences, so we make sure that the stay of our clients will be seamless, not only sleeping, but during the day also. That's why we do that. And about the meals, we don't have a restaurant in the property, and we don't want to have a restaurant in the property, because as I mentioned to you, the main concept is for clients to feel that they are going on their holiday home, like your own holiday home that you're going for the weekend, and you don't have a restaurant in your private home. So we don't want to have one, but we do include the dinners. What we do, average stay will be 3 nights, so to say. You can do 4, 5, 6 nights without any problem, but average stay will be 3 nights. So what we do is one of the nights we bring inside the house a chef, and we would do the dinner here, for example. He's a fantastic chef. His name is Alejandro. We like to bring him in after long days. So if our clients do rafting and they will be exhausting at night, we do the dinner in the house. And then we have a couple of options in the village with one amazing restaurant called Elvia. And so we arrange one of the dinners there. And then we have a couple of friends who are chefs also, and they open the door of their home and we do dinner at their place. And our clients love that, because that's really, you get the feeling that, oh, let's go to have dinner with our friend Carolina tonight. And then Carolina is here, welcome, have dinner in my patio, and we have dinner together. So it's like closed door restaurants experience. And it's really nice because you feel like you are getting to know more people in the village, and you are not locked down inside your villa and you don't meet anybody, which is not the purpose of traveling, to our point of view. So that we use that space for this kind of dinners and also for breakfast. And let's go downstairs.
Yeah, and while we're walking down, I'm just going to say, like, the thing about, it's great, all the subcontractors that Olivier works with there, in terms of the mountain biking people, the rafting companies, like top-notch stuff. When you go biking there, they have full suspension bikes, they have all of the pads. I mean, it's really, really quality stuff. The rafting outfitters there are top-of-the-line professionals. You know, I was a river guide in Peru for 10 years, and I actually would go up and do river training with the guides in San Gil in Colombia. Some of the best whitewater guides you'll find in South America are based in this area of Colombia, so super, super safe rafting. And yeah, there's just such a variety of things to do in this area that spending a week, I mean, you're not going to have enough time to do everything you want in a week there.
Yeah, totally. So we're in the second room. As we were mentioning, you see they're really separated one from the other. So if you have couples who don't know each other, no problem, they won't be on top, one on top of the other one. And this is the second room, which is a junior suite. Again, a couple of personal things. I have my violin lesson in a couple of hours, so I have the violin ready. So this is the second room, also a very big one. Bathroom is slightly smaller, and it also have its private terrace and quite of plants, and so you can some shadow to refresh. We have some plans for the future to extend that terrace, to make it a bit bigger, maybe to add a jacuzzi or do something like this. But like everybody, we need to wait for the pandemic to finish, and then we will move on with the new plans. But we'll make it even greater in the future. Let's go quickly to the bathroom. And again, it's open shower to outside. This room actually used to be the library from the previous owner. And so we kept some of the original furniture. This one, for example, is a very old furniture. We love it. So we kept that to give the sense of the house. And now we'll go to the last two rooms, which are just a few steps away. So the last two rooms, they're the smallest one. And actually, if we sell room by room, we don't sell them separately. We sell them together because, as you can see, they are like both one together in the same building. So we don't sell it as a standard room, but we sell it as a 2-bedroom suite, which is ideal for family who want to have their own private space. Again, we have some plans to extend the terrace. That would be, I guess, next year. And that, when I say the smallest, that doesn't mean they're small. Like, they're still pretty huge, but smaller than the other ones. Oh, by the way, those lamps, the Clark mentioned the paper factory in the village. Those lamps, we sent the design and they made them for us.
Camila, can I see the roof there? Can you look up at the roof? I wanted to see the no, el techo. There you go. That's super cool. Thank you.
Yeah, we have fans and air conditioning. And that will be mostly the house. I can show you quickly the fourth one, which is very similar to this one. So as you see, they're just one by the other one. So it's great for family. And both, we can split the beds into 2 twin beds. Yeah, that will be the house.
Cool. Maybe we'll go upstairs. And then why don't you guys think, everybody that's on here, if you have questions to ask, we could take some time answering questions about Barichara or what traveling is like there, or
Bye. Ay, no importa, no puedo quedar de pie.
Sí.
Sí, sí.
okay.
Ahí más cerquita para que escuchen las preguntas.
All right. So anybody have any questions? Okay. Ariane's asking, can we rent the house out for a yoga retreat or a wedding?
Oh, good question. Actually, yoga is fantastic. There is a very strong yoga community here in Barichara. Well, something that I forgot to mention about the Barichara, what makes it so special is that you have the authentic village the way it was 200 years ago. And at the same time, you have so many people from Bogota looking to live in a better life who came and moved to Barichara. And those people are mostly artists, wellness people, yoga teachers, and sculpture painters. Actually, one of the most famous painters in Colombia, David Mansour, lives in Barichara. And our neighbor, she has a yoga studio. So you do have a strong community. You have vegetarian restaurants in Barichara, which is pretty unique for a small village. So we've done actually yoga retreat. We can do massage. We can do many of those things. And as you see, the villa is very quiet and you have a lot of space. So that will work perfectly. For a wedding, that would be a small wedding. We do have some space to do it. I won't do more than 30, 40 people inside the house, even though for remote, we had quite a lot of crew. And in that case, we will rent other villas in the same neighborhood as I've mentioned before. So we can have lodging for everybody. We can do up to 200 people in the village if you need some.
Yeah. So great. And then another, what's the insect and mosquito situation? Someone said they're asking for a friend.
Mosquitoes. Well, you know, we're in Colombia, in a tropical country, so I won't lie, you can always have some mosquitoes. You don't have as much as in wet regions of Colombia, like the Carrefour region, for example. So you have less bugs than in the Carrefour region, but you do have few mosquitoes at sunset. We have spray everywhere in the house. The good point is that we don't have any sickness. We don't have Zika. We don't have dengue. We don't have malaria, all these kind of things. So they're just a bit annoying, but they're not dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And then someone's asking, can you arrange some type of an artisan or artist tour? I mean, absolutely. No. What we talked about, there's so many options for exploring the arts in the village. You must have connections like painters and different artists in the village that you can arrange visits with.
Yeah, definitely. We did once. I remember we had a group of friends who was 100% into art and handicrafts, and we did a 5-day itineraries with only artists and handicraft workshops and places. 5 days.
Something. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm planning on going there with my family for our spring break. Is that like my youngest son? You decide to do anything crafting or art, that's like what he lives for. And my other son wants to jump on the downhill mountain bikes and go rafting and do all that stuff. So it's kind of ideal that we can be there. And, you know, those that want to stay and do cultural and artistic stuff, you can do that. Those that want to be active, you can do that. And then I'll come back at the end of the day to this beautiful villa there. So let's see, we got another. Ethan is asking, what's the typical cuisine of this region? So what's kind of different in the food of this area compared to, say, other areas of Colombia? And Ethan, you're going here too with your wife, right? I think the week after I'm going to be there with my family, you're coming to Barichara. So you'll learn. There's great restaurants in Barichara, fantastic. But what's the kind of general cuisine in this area?
Goat will be the main meat that is used in the region. There are a lot of goats around that area. Cuisine is really local. How to explain? I don't know. Yeah, goat, potatoes. We are still in the Andes, so you know potatoes are really strong everywhere in the Andes. It's a bit more fresh because it is hotter than other parts of the country, so they don't use that much beans that they will do, for example, in the Carrefour region or in Medellin. You do have a couple of really nice salad restaurants in the village, which is nice and fresh for lunch. Yeah, that would be that mixed. It's not. Yeah, but don't expect fancy 3 Michelin star restaurants in the village, because of course we're in a small village, so that's not going to happen. It's all about fresh, locally produced, simple, well done cuisine. That's the way of food that you have here. Actually, the avocado here is the best one in Colombia. Every time I come to Barichara, I will buy like 5 or 6 huge avocado and bring them back home in the Carrefour region because they're even nicer here. So it's all about the products, really. And even the tomatoes, with the sun that we have here, like the tomatoes, they really taste like amazing tomatoes. So yeah, that would be the way.
Yeah. No, there's some great restaurants. I mean, as you said, it's not anything super fine dining, but I mean, what is the place? Elvira? That place. I mean, I think I had one of the best.
That's the best one in town. Yes, I'm going again tonight because I can't get enough.
That place is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I had one of the best meals of my life there with a great group of people. And you know, I think the thing too is just walking around town. It's like, you know, every little shop is doors wide open. You know, you go down around the plaza and there's great little ice cream places. You just get an ice cream cone, sit in the plaza and watch the world go by. There's some really cool shops there. One of my favorites is that guy that does all the linen clothes. You know the fellow I'm talking about? His shop's called Jordan, and he does nothing but linen that he produces, beautiful, like rainbow colors, all these linen variety of clothes for the tropics. And that place is a great hit. So just a wonderful place to walk around, and, you know, street vendors that are serving fruit and fresh fruit. So just a cool place to walk around for the day and just try different foods and check out little shops and stuff. Really, really cool boutiques. And I can't stress that enough, that this is really kind of the hit place that I would say you kind of bohemian, artistic, sophisticated people in Colombia, this is where they go. Like they're not going to, beach resorts in Cartagena. They're coming to Barichara because it just has that slow pace of life and a lot of the art and food. And it's just a wonderful vibe. Definitely has this real kind of sophisticated bohemian vibe into the village of Barichara. Let's see what else we got. I think Peggy's asking, busier on weekends?
Yeah, well, busy concept in Barichara is not the same busy concept as other part in the world. So yes, it gets busier on the weekends, but we are not speaking of the Eiffel Tower on Chinese season. Definitely not. So you have the village is more alive, but you still can walk everywhere. You can still have dinner in the restaurants. You don't have to make reservation on these kind of things. So yeah, it gets a bit more busy, but also it's more live. So I don't dislike it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so she's saying busier on the weekends compared to Via de Leyva. Yeah, absolutely. Via de Leyva would be packed on the weekends compared to Barichara, but it's just because of the access issue to get to Bari. It's much more complicated to get to Barichara than it is to Via de Leyva. I mean, you have all of Bogota going up there for the weekend compared to Barichara. People maybe helicoptering in. People that live in, Bucaramanga might even make this their weekend escape. Sarita's asking about the level of the mountain biking there.
Level of it can be very soft or really challenging. We have different levels. One very easy one, you drive to a nearby village called Villanueva, and then you will go downhill on dirt road until you get to the house, and that's like 1 hour and a half with some stops on the way, but all the way downhill, very soft and easy. So we can do that. We can just bike around the village. But if you want serious one, we can do like 5 hours down to the Suarez Canyon, which is the one nearby the Chicamocha. You have like the two canyons that go one into the other one, Chicamocha and Suarez, and you can go all the way downhill, which when you start at 1,400 meters of altitude and you finish at almost zero in a couple of hours. So we can do very challenging if you want so. And we have an amazing provider of bikes, the best bikes in the regions, so we can make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so you kind of have everything from entry level up to extreme. I mean, they do mountain bike competitions in this area as well, so there's an incredible variety of single track as well. Yeah. And then Tara's asking, any idea of how often the flights run from Panama normally? That's a good question, because actually I'm trying to book flights there right now, and that was attractive because we have a direct flight from San Francisco to Panama, but I could not find them popping up when I'm doing searches. So that might just be a route temporarily, stopped because of the pandemic. I'm not sure. You remember, Olivier? I think it was like 3 or 4 times a week previously.
Yes, exactly. When they started, it was like 3 times a week. And then when it was really working well, it was daily with Copa Airlines, Panama to Bucaramanga. They stopped it, they canceled it during the pandemic. And now I think they're putting it back 2 or 3 days a week as from July and August or something like that, because I tried to book it a couple of days ago and I saw it. So it's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything else. And I mean, yeah, it's a good question.
Sorry.
I think kind of in general.
Sorry, Clark. Since we were speaking about flight, I wanted to mention that from Bucaramanga, you have direct flight to Bogota, of course. You have direct flight to Cartagena, so you can easily connect it. Or maybe you mentioned that already on the map while I was on the tuk-tuk. But you have direct flight to Cartagena, direct flight to Medellin, direct flight to Pereira, so you can really easily put it inside an itinerary.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was going to say is about like, how would you fit Barichara into an itinerary? And I mean, I think that some of the obvious is that, you fly into Bogota, maybe have a day or two in the city to see the capital and visit the Botero Museum and the Museo del Oro, go down to Hacienda Bambusa, get that kind of subtropical coffee region thing, stay at Bambusa for a couple nights, then fly up to Bucaramanga, and then come out to Barichara for a while. You can also do, if you decided, you could do Cartagena, a couple nights in Cartagena, and then come to Barichara. And I think I actually might do this with the family. And realistically, I might spend a day in Cartagena. I mean, it's a cool city to see, but that's kind of what attracts a lot of people to Colombia is Cartagena. But I feel like there's far more to do in Barichara than there is actually even in Cartagena itself. So, spend a couple of days in Cartagena on the coast, come up to Barichara. And then the other idea is that if people are looking for a super unique, exotic getaway as a family or, a couple friends traveling or 2 families, I mean, just coming directly to Barichara and spending a week here you're going to be as happy as can be. I mean, like I said, the variety of things you can do here in terms of active stuff, but also kind of cultural and touring and just chilling and just slowing down life. This is a great place to go, to rent a villa, rent a private home with some friends. You know, maybe there's people that haven't traveled at all during the pandemic and are kind of dipping their toe back into it. This is a great place to go and just base yourself and experience something. It's an extremely safe village. People are super friendly. And yeah, it is harder to get to than other places, but that's what makes it special. So, okay, let's see. I think we don't have any more questions coming in, so we might just wrap it at that. And I kind of need to, because my kids are going to come busting in the door from school any second. But Olivier, that was great. It's so nice to see you. Just chilling and enjoy your violin lesson. That I didn't know you played violin, but actually it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I do. I bring it everywhere I go now. That's the good thing about spirituality. Now I can take lessons from Barichara.
You want to play us a song?
No, I don't.
I think I knew the answer to that way before I crossed. Okay, next time we go, we're going to put you on the spot and make you start with the serenade. Okay, so and then the last thing too, obviously, you know, a lot of you know Olivier. He also runs a DMC in Colombia called Nabu, so he can be your point of contact and put together the whole trip in Colombia. You know, using Bambusa, using Nabu, using whatever. Maybe if you don't even use the properties that he manages. He's a great DMC in the country, but also places like Bambusa and places like Yahri. If you have relationships and you're working with any of the other great DMCs in Colombia, like Colombia 57 and Galavanta, whoever, they also have access and they can book Yahri for you via them. So, you know, just get some people to Colombia. We're ready to welcome them. It's a great destination and it's open right now. And we don't believe that's going to change. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll follow up afterwards. We'll send the recording to you. We're also going to send you a fact sheet, an activity booklet, image gallery, and I'll also send you Olivier's contact details. So if you do have people interested in Colombia, he can be your point of contact if you don't have someone you're already working with. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Olivier,
Clark, for the space.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for your time and for listening to us today. And feel free to come whenever you want. If you want to do farm trade, site inspection, we are super open. It's the right time to travel now because we have space. So take advantage of it and come to visit it.
Yeah. Just don't sell the week after Semana Santa because you'll end up kicking me out. But actually, no, do that. I'll put a challenge down. If you can manage to book out Yahri for the week after Semana Santa when I'm supposed to be there and you kick me out, then I'm going to contract you to plan my family's trip for that. So you get double business if you manage to do that.
That's a good challenge.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week and we'll be in touch. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.